What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review the third solo album by rapper Lil Wayne. Basically, this product is called 500 Degreez and it came out in the summer of 2002. So basically, the thing about this particular product was this is the last product that Lil Wayne dropped before taking like a minor hiatus and improving greatly within the pitch as far as and improving humongously within the run of like the Carter era between like the mid-late 2000s to basically about now as far as those pitches can happen. Now, Lil Wayne was a pretty potent lyricist back in the early 2000s as well. But the transformation between this particular album, 500 Degreez, and the Carter in 2004 was pretty fast. It's just kind of the concept that it just amalgamated things a lot further. Some of those Boss Manny Fresh improved as a producer as well with hits like Go DJ and Bring It Back, some of those type ones. And then also like Earthquake, some of those type pitches, that Song for the Ladies, as far as those fairs going to happen. Lil Wayne just really transformed us. One of the just definitive and more notable albums from like the 2000s decade as far as Southern rap was kind of concerned. Definitely put Lil Wayne in like the spotlight. But this particular album was like the album before the album. Definitely had some good appeal upon here. It was pretty good. Blistering Heat. Lil Wayne was initially trying to outdo his former colleagues on Cash Money just to start things off, trying to top the former head honcho on Cash Money, which was Juvenile as far as those pitches going to happen in a lot of ways. Now, Juvenile is definitely pretty potent around this particular time. I do think Juvie the Great was a pretty excellent type album as well that came out in late 2003. But Lil Wayne was starting to catch up and not just be like an underdog and more small time type fare as far as those pitches can happen. This is definitely one. Even if it did not get the commercial appeal, this is pretty much on the cusp of being like a relative classic. I do feel like the Carter 1 probably outstrips this one, and definitely the Carter 2, some of those type fares. But this is some good type appeals, definite and huge improvement and a great step in the right direction. Just showcasing the fact that Lil Wayne, when he was 18, 19, was able to do these sorts of things and just nail it within a particular aspect of doing it. So 2002 was just an awkward type time. 2002 was just an awkward type time for Cash Money as far as those pitches can happen. Juvenile, his last album, which came out in late 2001, which was Project English, didn't do super terrific as far as those pitches can happen. Juvenile was starting to separate away from Cash Money. Not sure what BG was up to. I know he dropped an album at least in 2000, possibly 2001. He might have been in prison. Not really sure what BG was up to in like 2002. I think Turk was in prison. I want to say that Turk went to prison in 2001 until all the way out in 2008 or 2009. So he had been in prison for a while. The Hot Boys was just not around his full blown. So it's basically up to Lil Wayne to take care of like the headway as far as being like the young and kind of rapper to do things. As Big Timers definitely had a pretty dominant 2002. Birdman had an album at the end of 2002, and Big Timers had one at the beginning, both of which had some pretty good singles on there. But it was just kind of within the fair, some excellent type fair, kind of get this just a more hungry and just kind of more like buzz era, kind of promo single era type Lil Wayne within the pitch, just having some buzzers on here. But this album does have some great productions, pitches like that. It just lacks like a smash hit. I do think Way of Life and Where You At were great songs as far as those singles and kind of the pitch behind it kind of happened, but it didn't quite have like the mainstream attentiveness to bank Lil Wayne as like a solo star is full blown just yet. But it was just with the pitch. Like I said, I feel like this is the album before the album. But talking about the promotion fair of this particular product, some good type stuff here. And the thing to know about this particular product is it's very summer oriented as far as those pitches kind of happen. When you think of like a classic summer album from rap music like Tupac's All Eyes on Me or the 7 Day Theory, some of those type pitches, it has some of that summer frolic in like a huge sense. Another summer classic, at least to like the early 2000s, would be Big Timers Hood Rich, which also came out around this particular time. But this is just summer antics to a T as far as those pitches can happen. Just lemonade sipping, getting crunk, drinking beer, smoking swishers and backwoods, some of that type fare, getting barbecue and KFC, Popeyes, some of that type fare, just to kick back and just cookouts and barbecue smoke ups and pitches like that, cruise around, get some Dayton spokes, just some good Cadillac and spinners type music as far as those pitches kind of happen just within the tone behind it. But Way of Life is a nice one here. There's like a buzzing kind of summer waviness, I feel like here, just a nice mellow out and smoke party. I would definitely feel like within the tone. Sunglasses on, cruise around as far as those pitches kind of happen. And this relatively has mellow energy, not like the most ferocious song off this particular album, but I do definitely like the appeal, just like some bubbling. It kind of reminds me of Lithium by Nirvana, that same kind of more bass guitar type heaviness, just within the tone, of just having like a drooping type one that has like eyes low a little bit, just simple kind of cruise around within the standard type fare, just summer antics. It's kind of hot type day, but maybe a little bit more muggy within the senses within the fare behind it. But it's just some good type fare to kind of have for some of that, just for a relative kind of mellow cruise around, but not it's not boring, but it's just within the concept of just saying that it's just not like as up. It's not quite as not quite as jarring and ferocious as a song like Go DJ or Bring It Back. Some of those type ones are Firemen from later albums like the Carter 1 and 2, as far as those pitches can happen. It's kind of a constant, just kind of a real, this bubbler of one, but I do like that. It feels a real excellent type song here, I would definitely have to say. And then a surprising single, which switches up the tone quite a bit, is Where You At. Now, this is definitely some of that thug life type living as far as those pitches can happen, like Tupac, I'd say, in a lot of senses, just in a more this kind of cash money type sense as far as those fairs can happen. This night commerce, it's like some glaring kind of night activity. I feel like just definitely like some Tupac riding and like some night commerce type fair. I'd have to say about this. Just some thug life fun to kind of have. The standard young and thug and kind of night antics as far as those pitch can happen just amidst like the summer night air just within that particular type fair. Basically, if you were obsessed with Tupac, All Eyes on Me, but you need something a little bit more recent, at least basically if you appreciate like Tupac from All Eyes on Me type pitches, just some of that summer frolic within that fair, just in a more night type commerce in like the early 2000s type fashion. This is a good example of some of that type fair, just thug life type living, like I was saying, good concept. But yeah, this promotion of this album was relatively brief. I just look after the tone behind it. It's just an interesting type pitch because it just seemed, I don't want to say it came and went, but this particular year felt more of like Big Timers and Manny Fresh's year more so than Full Blown Lil Wayne. The pitch behind it kind of was just the fact that he was kind of 19, just going on 20 as far as those pitches going to happen with it. So obviously he shifted things pretty quickly. He had another come up. He basically had some of this scene. This was just a concept of the hit, just kind of him throwing like glancing blows, some of those type pitches, as eventually like the Carter would be like the knockout that just kept Lil Wayne from that point forward in the spotlight full blown, where he was just like a big dog no matter what. And it's just kind of the pitch. Now, it's not to say this is a bad album. It's just kind of with the pitch, just a little bit more scrappy and rough draft as far as those pitches can happen. The beats are definitely excellent on here. It's just the fact that it just lacks like a commercial standpoint of something that can say, okay, Lil Wayne's like the forefront of music, which he wasn't quite as much yet. It's just kind of within the tone, but I look after it, it's just some good type fare, good excellent type music on here. There are some good guests on here. Big Timers show up as a group a couple times. TQ, the hook singer's on here. Birdman shows up on a couple songs. Tatees, which is a hook singer. There's just some good folks on here. Pretty much this whole album's produced by Manny Fresh, which is some excellent type fare. There's a couple Jazzy Faye beats on here, a couple of these, some good stuff like that. But basically, out of the songs, so there's 21 songs in this particular album, but there's 6 skits or just talking bits on this particular song. So that narrows it down to 15 songs. Out of those 15, I wound up recommending 11 and a half. So the pitch behind it, as far as that particularly going to happen, so I'm going to give this album like a solid 9 out of 10 just within the pitch as far as that particularly going to happen. Because I look after it, I would basically say that 12 out of 15. I realize that within the pitch behind it, that 12 out of 15 really is 3/4. But I look within the pitch that's still enough to be able to say that that would be like a relative kind of 10 out of 10. If it was 13 out of 16, it would definitely get a 10 out of 10. But 12 out of 15 would either be like a 9.5, 9.75, 10 out of 10, somewhere within that quality. But I feel like 11.5 is relatively within the cusp behind that. So it'd basically be about a 9 or 9.25. But I just would go ahead and say, just would say it would get a 9 out of 10 within the pitch as far as that particular happens with it, just within the tone. But basically, the three, look after the fare behind as far as the excellence of this album kind of happens. It is a very blissful type one. A lot of summer frolic, just that type of energy, a thug life type fare. It is very much harnesses like Tupac from 96 and like other folks that like that summer frolic, Plies from 2007, some of that type fare. Just when you think of summer warriors that just have those aspects of just wife beater type music and Cadillac cruise arounds and just beer sipping in like August, July pitches like that. But so I would have to say that the 3 songs I don't recommend on this album, would just be Young and Blues, Believe That, and basically Get That Dough. So Young and Blues is just a personable type song that I just couldn't appreciate the production on. This was just more of like a more around the neighborhood type one, around the house type one that just felt like more house cleaning type music that just didn't nail it as well. Believe That just kind of had like a clumsy type production. This just felt like a plotting type one where just the poundiness of this just didn't really appreciate the aspect how it delivered upon it. Some of these type ones just feel like ones where they just are kind of abrasive from the start, and they just kind of feel like ones that are just not that melodic to listen to right off the bat. It's just kind of within the tone. That was kind of one that kind of had that kind of clumsiness. Get That Dough is just another one like that. The production fare and the chorus on Get That Dough are just not that amalgamated that well. They just kind of felt mismanaged, and just in the tone behind it was not that affable or really that like synchronized as far as those pitch can happen with this. That's just another slag type one to kind of get. But then I would basically say that the song Go Hard is a nice pitch to kind of get here. So this one is an almost song, but I look after just within the tone. This is like a dreary kind of summer evening routine. I would go hard as like a dreary kind of summer evening. I would feel like here just some routine antics. I'd have to say just go hard as like some routine antics. I'd have to say just some workday unwind. I would definitely feel like just definitely some good blissful dredge. I'd have to say, but it's a pretty frustrating type song. This really feels like neighborhood dredge as far as those pitches kind of happen. Just being around a vehicle, some of that type fare, but just the concept of like that summer heat, wipe your brows, and pitches like that. Just kind of feel the concept of just like the relative dredge about it. Kind of look within the tone. It's just one of those type ones where just maybe lengthy kind of traffic type day, just the standard embrace of just that relief, but kind of in a good. It's a song to be in a good mood. Just the concept of enjoying summer, but maybe things are just kind of being sluggish or just some standard type fare where it's just kind of aggravating just within the pitch. I mean, I say frustrating because just within the pitch that this particular production on here is a good song, but it's not necessarily like a nightclub song. It's not necessarily like a go crazy type song or just an excellent type song. It's not necessarily like a go crazy type song or just one of those type songs where you just go bananas and just have like a blissful type time, but it just is kind of like a dredgy type one. Just really has like the transit type feel about it. Just kind of like get some tasks done, just kind of within the pitch, but not in a bad mood, but also just with the aspect of like that standard kind of day frustration as far as those pitch happens. Just kind of one of those tones that just has a lot of slag about it, but I do like it. Just within the pitch, but it's just kind of one. Doesn't necessarily feel like a song where you're popping bottles, pitches like that, women twerking all over the place, but it's just kind of within the tone as far as that particular kind of goes. It's just kind of just some summer, just kind of slag about it, just kind of the in between, and just like one of those type moments where you just have to have some transit type moments just within the pitch, but it's a recommendable type one, like I was saying. So yeah, it's just it's a song I would listen to, but just I question like the concept just because the relative dredgy feeling about it, just how often it would kind of happen, just because of the frustrating listen about it. But yeah, so this album gets a 9 out of 10. So some real excellent ones on here. Gangstas and Pimps, the real quality one. It's like a woozy kind of butter smooth summer breeze kind of get here, just an emphatic kind of good living type song kind of have within that in particular. And it's like some lobster and barbecue type you definitely kind of have. Some of these type ones, big timers do these types of songs all the time. Manny Fresh is real good at these particular songs. He usually teams up with Jazzy Faye or some of those type folks, TQ, some of those type folks in particular that just does a lot of these. This really has that particular type of appeal. It's just Lil Wayne doing that same particular type breeze of like a Jazzy Faye kind of summer beat. This works pretty well. Really has an emphatic chorus production. Really shines on that particular part. Fuck You is a nice one. It's like a vanilla kind of night commerce. I would feel like just some 3-6 Mafia kind of late outing and like a hop and bop kind of presentation, I'd say. Is just kind of the concept. It's just very vanilla in how it does it. Normally, 3-6 Mafia has a lot more darker type fare. This is a very fiery type song. Do you like the fire of this song? But it's just kind of within the pitch that compared I feel like Manny Fresh's rendition of doing some of that 3-6 Mafia type fare when you think of night commerce, of just smoking and like the night wind, some of that type fare, just night errands, getting some Taco Bell runs, some of that standard stuff, some of that standard fare, getting condoms and swishers, Jack Daniels, some of those type of pitches, lighters, some of that type of stuff that you need for like the night commerce for those pitches kind of happen, getting some gas, some of that type of fare is just kind of within the pitch of that night trekking and commerce within it. It's a little bit more vanilla. This feels more hop and bop compared to some of the stuff of standard southern rap type fare, but it's just within the pitch. It is a good rendition of that. 500 Degreez, the title track, is an excellent type one as well as like a brooding sequel to the Juvie hit from back in the late 90s. I'd have to say just some summer evening malaise relief to kind of get here. This is just some summer evening malaise to kind of get here and just some relief after a long day heat, I'd have to say in particular. So this is definitely be where the summer days are stretching into like 8:39 p.m. as far as those pitches kind of happen, where the sun's finally starting to go down about 9:15 pitches like that. Just where it's still hot out, some of that type fare, and just appreciating like the summer, just appreciating like the summer night and just some other trekking as far as those pitches can happen. Definitely goes along with, I would have to say, definitely goes along with Where You At. And like I would say there's another one on here that's kind of like that. I forget which one it was. Fuck You, some of those type ones I'd have to say. Gangsta Shit with Petey Pablo is another nice one. It's like a nice buzzing kind of late day summer turn up. I would definitely say here just some early 2000s kind of flex tunes to kind of get within that tone. Just a ride out bop. I would definitely feel like in a good floss type song kind of gets. So it's just within the pitch. Nice particular type fare. Now this is a lot more heavier stunt song 20 something years ago as far as those pitch kind of happen. I look after the fare, definitely delivers upon what it does. It's like a dirty south kind of strip club buzzer just within the pitch behind it as far as that particular kind of happens. Just throw some money, make it rain type fare if that was happening back in like the early 2000s as far as those pitch kind of happen. But it just feels like this is another vanilla type one. There are some vanilla beats on here as far as those pitch kind of happen. A lot of this compared to especially when you listen to like 2010s trap, some of that type fare. And this is definitely pounding just some good blissy type ones to kind of get, but it does feel somewhat retro within the sense compared to that. And I feel like there's songs off the Carter from 2004, like, Obviously songs like Birdman Jr. and Bring It Back and Go DJ, some of those type ones that just feel a little bit more edgy within the sense, but this is just kind of more kind of, I don't want to say skeletal, but it's just within the pitch, it's just very vanilla within the aspect of just nailing it. I mean, it's good for 2002. This was kind of ahead of the times just as it started to do some of these sorts of things because there weren't folks kind of making bops like this. Petey Pablo kind of somewhat did it in 2001. Lil Wayne was kind of helping. I didn't say that as much, but he kind of was trailblazing a little bit around this time in 2002. Because apart from like Big Timers and Ludacris and maybe a little bit of Mystical, there weren't a ton of folks really doing like these strip club jammers like this. So it's just a good pitch that Gangsta Shit really particularly nailed that. It's a good buzz you're gonna have. Worry Me is a good bop on here as well. It's like a bleary kind of local antics and nice typical kind of hot day bop to kind of get within that tone. Just to visit around and kind of saunter, I would feel like just some routine kind of cruise to kind of get within that tone. Really like the production on this particular song. It's a real bleary type one. This works pretty well. Probably one of the most notable ones. And this is pretty excellently produced type. This is definitely a pretty excellently produced type product within that fare, but it's definitely a pretty nice album cut to kind of get within that tone of one that stands out that's not a single, I'd have to say. Bloodline is definitely a quality one as well. It's like a jazzy and light lit kind of summer evening frolic to kind of get here within that tone. Just some neighborhood kind of smoke one with like a snack, I'd have to say in particular. So if you just got like some Slim Jims, something like that, bag of chips, bag of Lay's, bag of Doritos, something like that with like a Swish or some of those type fares, just walking around hopping bop, some of that type fare, strawberry soda, grape soda, something like that. This routine kind of frolic within that fare is just some good type tones for like some summer evenings. Yeah, Bloodline just has some real swagged out type productions on there. Just a real light guitar lick type tone, just almost acoustic like within the tone. Just some summer vacay hotel type music, and it's kind of more just neighborhood kind of California like as far as those pitch can have it. Just some good type tones. And kind of have to say, I don't know if I talked about like Lovely, but this is a nice one here to kind of get. It's like another quality stock summer afternoon. I'd have to say just within the tone. It's kind of a pounding vehicle knock about this particular one here, and this is just like some standard kind of day errands. I'd just definitely say about this pitch as far as that particular kind of goes along with it, just some good type bopping to kind of get here. Some cruise around, definitely. There's some ones on here that kind of have that particular fare. Like I definitely feel like Way of Life is another one of those type ones that's just some good cruise around as far as that kind of goes. Just like Look at Me is probably one of those type of ones. Lovely kind of combines like summer frolic and just like a peaceful kind of plain afternoon pitch just like that with just like some vehicle knock. Pretty similar to like Gangsta Shit and some of those type of ones. This would have to say with like a little bit more bounce towards it and just a little bit more summer. And it's kind of an in between the songs like Gangsta Shit, Way of Life, Look at Me, some of those type pitches, and just within the tone having some of that southern bounce. Some of that summer day frolic and bounce, also like songs like Gangsters and Pimps and some of those type ones. So it's just a good type tone. A lot of this is just like not necessarily full blown picnic type music, but just a lot of summer frolic on here just within those pitches. It just really smoking and like the afternoon wind as far as those pitches kind of happen with it. Just some good type fare, just appreciating the sunlight, some of that goodness just to be able to have. Definite wife beater, khaki type music just to be able to have within that hot day type fare. Great just between May and September, I'd have to say. But I think I've talked about every song on here. Actually, I don't think I've talked about Look at Me just yet as far as that pitch can have. So I think I mentioned that song just a moment ago, but I'm going to talk about this one now. So Look at Me is like a mildly jarring kind of summer farces to kind of get here just within that pitch behind it. It's like some neighborhood turn up, I would definitely say, get supplies and just some routine kind of frolic to kind of have. So just like I was saying before with all these different type ones for just like those summer antics, this thug life type fares similar to Tupac. It's in more early 2000s type sense. It's typical kind of wife beater type music, just standard fare of that. A lot of songs that just feel a lot like Lithium by Nirvana and some of those type pitches. I mean, obviously that's a rock song, but just within the pitch like that summer haze kind of energy, just glazed afternoons, is pitched like that. It's really appreciating like the 80, 90-degree weather. I would say that Look at Me is a little bit more of like a jarring type one. Just one that kind of commences like the turn up as far as those pitches kind of happen. Just getting towards more of like a house party type of feel, where it's a little bit of summer frolic in there, but also within the pitch of like maybe getting towards something of like either going out and riding out or just like a pitch of having like a more kind of heavy getting ready to kick off like a house party or just like some good soirees and pitches like that as far as figuring out what's going to happen, like once again the warm weather as far as those pitches can happen, just kind of a kickoff towards something bigger, something a little bit more festive, social, I'd say within it. Just some good standard buzzing kickoff of turn up, I'd have to say. And then Faux Sheezy's a nice one. This is another song I haven't talked about on here. So this is vintage Lil Wayne here. It's like a glistening kind of bop and sequel to Bling Bling. I would definitely feel like I think that was either on Lil Wayne's Lights Out or The Block is Hot, one of those type pitches. He was one of the ones that coined that particular phrase. huge catchphrase throughout the early 2000s, bling bling era, some of that type fair as far as those pitches can happen. It's like a basic kind of retro nightclub stunt to kind of get here in this very flashy song. So this is just probably one of the few nightclub songs off this particular product. It's a little bit more lazy type fare. The evolution between Lil Wayne from Bling Bling to Go DJ is pretty fast just within those pitches. Go DJ was definitely a blistering type one, just had that shredding type energy, just overall craze type one. Lil Wayne just annihilated it with like the lyrics, but this is definitely someone that was just kind of one. Kind of, I feel like Lil Wayne wasn't as much full bound in the club. He wasn't quite 21 yet, so I'm not sure if he was really able to get in the clubs in like the first place. But it's just in good type fare to kind of have some of that nightclub type appeal for some of that relative bliss about it. Just another good bopish type one. There's not, like I was saying, there's not a ton of songs like this on this particular album. A lot of this is just more summer energy, cruise around, standard fare like that, more Tupac type riding, I'd say within that pitch. But this is at least one of those ones. If you do have like a nice bubbly bottle of champagne, something like that, or some of those type fares, this for like some relative type stump type fare. But this definitely happened a lot more on the card. But this is just one of those relative. Oh, Cheesy is like one of these relative kind of club bops. So it's just like a relative kind of one or two step evolution above like bling bling as far as those pitch can happen. But it's good, some great type stuff there. So that's the pitch behind this particular album. So it gets a 9 out of 10. Social score I'm probably going to give like a 9.75 out of 10. I'd say just within the pitch it would get a 10 out of 10. I mean, it is Lil Wayne, and he is a household name, but it's just within the pitch that it just didn't have like a #1 single or anything close in terms of like a commercial smash that could have carried this product. I want to say this album at least went gold, which means it sold 500,000 copies, but it's just within the pitch. I really feel like the most notable songs off this product only got like a few million plays on Spotify, even all this time later. So it's just within the pitch. It's just kind of here and there in terms of like the overall casual type appeal. Excellent type fare, plenty of summer energy, like I was saying, really harnesses Tupac and some of those type folks, just summer warriors like that. I'd have to say just within the pitch, definite wife beater type music, lemonade type music, and Corona type music, some of that type fare was just within the pitch as far as saying that if you're looking for like something like Lollipop or Millie, one of those largest hits by Lil Wayne, it's just not really as full blown on here. But other than that, it's real excellent type fare. In terms of the future, like Lil Wayne has been working on stuff. He put out like a greatest hits in 2023. He dropped like an album with 2 Chainz in late 2023. He dropped the Fix Before the Six, some of those type fares. Kind of taking this particular year off. No mixtapes came out this year, but it is some excellent type pitch. He'll be back at some stage. He's been working on stuff. We might get the Carter Six, some of those type fares just within the pitch. But this is like a virtual classic here, just within the tone. Definitely like the album before the album in terms of like the kickoff as to what the beast that Lil Wayne would wind up becoming later, just within the fare behind it. Definitely not one you should ignore, but just understand the fact that it is a little bit more of like a buzzing type product, but it is definitely worth it.